Welcome everyone to another session on current affairs by Civis 360 IAS Academy. In this session, we will be discussing about the new labor codes which were notified by the Ministry of Labour and Employment on the 21st of November. So, whenever you study these labor codes, please understand which all central legislations they actually replaced. Please understand the different changes each code actually brought, and please understand the overall objective of the government when they actually gave out these codes. So the codes were initially drafted and they actually came into effect long before in 2019 and 2020, but the rules were actually notified only recently. That is why we say that they are now starting to get implemented, right? Because the parliament has passed it, it is now the executive through the Ministry of Labour and Employment who is now actually releasing the rules, right? So even now it's not like the entire code is actually operational. There are still certain provisions which actually requires rules to be notified by the state government. That is also it will come in the in the next stage. So let's look into the codes. Okay, so once again, it was in the 21st November 2025, a substantial part of the labor codes are now being implemented through rules notified by the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Keep in mind, these act, that is the codes, were actually passed way back in 2019 and 2020. Okay, so this is just a summary. You had 29 central legislations on labor, on different topics of labor. You had laws on wages, you had laws on disputes, you had laws on social security. All these are now codified into 4 codes. So this is just a comparison of the rules that will be there, a comparison of the various forms they have to be published. These are bound to have a larger impact on MSMEs. As we all know, MSMEs are they are regulated to such an extent that they suffer from low productivity. That is why most of our MSMEs are stuck in the micro stage. 99% of our MSMEs are actually in the micro level. They cannot grow because of this over-regularization. That is why this labor codes try to remedy. Alright, so just a little bit of background. It was the second National Commission on Labour that was chaired by Ravindra Verma in 1999, which actually suggested that these labor legislations be consolidated into codes, right? So after that, a tripartite meeting was conducted, and after a long drawn process, 4 codes were actually formulated and they were notified. The code on wages was notified in 2019, 8th August. That is the act. The act was actually in force, was ineffective from 8th August after it got passed by the Rajya Sabha and signed by the President. And the remaining codes were notified on 29th September of 2020. But now, after 4-5 years, now we are seeing their rules being implemented. Okay, so please study each of these codes in detail because they are important for both of your prelims and mains. But we will be strictly focusing on prelims this time. So the code on wages, first important point, it actually consolidated 4 central legislations. So you need to know which are the legislations: Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Bonus Act, Equal Remuneration Act, and you have the Payment of Wages Act. Okay, so these are the acts that it consolidated. So remember, code on wages consolidated 4 legislations. Just remember the broader objective of, keep in mind that also, because whenever you don't know a particular statement, please understand the broader context of the central government or the parliament. It was to reduce the number of rules, make it easy for doing business, expand the social security. So these are the broader context of these reforms, right? So whenever a statement comes, if it's antithema to that objective, you can eliminate it. So please understand the broader context. So here, this code actually covers all the workers. Okay, if you look at the Minimum Wages Act, it actually said that minimum wages will apply only to the scheduled, it actually gave a schedule of employment. For those kind of employment, the Minimum Wages Act would have been applicable, but this code is applicable to all the employees, right? So it actually sets a national floor wage. Okay, national floor wage. Keep in mind, national floor wage, it's not universal. Okay, it's not universal means it's not same for the entire country. It has scope for regional variation because based on cost of living, based on the supply of labor and demand, all those things will be used to calculate the regional national floor wage. Although it says national floor wage, keep in mind it is not universal. It's not completely one for the entire country. There is scope for regional variation. And also remember, no state can fix a wage below the national floor wage that is set by the government, central government, right? And also remember the broader definition. So most of the times we will see that most of the definitions have been expanded, broadened, so that it has maximum coverage. So wage now includes basic pay, dearness allowance, as well as the retaining allowance. So please keep that in mind. Then remember that overtime pay is set at a maximum of 2 times the normal wage. Okay, then it also define limits within which wages have to be paid by the employer for if it's a daily wage, if it's a weekly wage, if it's a monthly wage, they have to give it within 7 days of the next month, right? So if you work until November 30, you have to get the wage within December 7th, within that time period. Okay, so please understand these concepts. Alright, the next important code is the code on social security, which actually consolidated 9 laws. Okay, so remember, code on wages 4 laws, here 9 laws. And the code on social security, just remember you have these laws like Employee State Insurance Act is there, Employees Compensation Act is there, Maternity Benefit Act is there, Payment of Gratuity Act is there. So please remember laws that are you're familiar with, that you see in news. Okay, and remember the year also. Okay, sometimes for state competitive exams, we have seen that they ask in a chronology of act, right? So these are some of the important acts that it has actually consolidated. So remember, Employee State Insurance Act of 1948, remember the Maternity Benefit Act of 1961, Payment of Gratuity Act of 1972, etc. Okay. So to talk about the code on social security, the most important coverage is that it actually expands to the gig workers, right? In fact, it actually creates a social security fund. This is very important. This social security fund is very important, and they say that the aggregators, the platform owners who actually provides these gig workers, they have to contribute 1 to 2% of their annual turnover. The cap is put at 5%, but they have to put at least 1 to 2% into a social security fund for their gig workers. This is a very important provision, especially for all these Uber drivers. You have these Instamart and all those food delivery agents are there, right? So for protecting them, you have this social security fund. Also remember, okay, fixed term employees, that is another important concept. Fixed term employees, unlike in the earlier regime, fixed term employees, which essentially means contract workers, similar to contract workers for 1 year or something like that. Those kind of employees to get all the benefits of a permanent worker, okay, receive same benefits as a permanent worker. In fact, they will get a gratuity after 1 year. Gratuity means a lump sum amount, okay. After 1 year of employment from the employer, they will get a lump sum amount, a gratuity, okay. And remember, EPFO is now applicable to all the establishments with greater than 20 workers. EPFO, okay, EPFO. And employee state insurance has to be given for all employees, and also earlier it was minimum 10, okay. If establishment is there, if it employs only greater than 10 workers, it needs to provide employee state insurance for those kind of workers. Also, there was a lot of difference across various regions also. Various states also had their own act. It removes all those complications. It says that all the workers in your establishment needs to be given employee state insurance as well. Okay, Employee State Insurance Corporation. Okay, so okay, please understand. Okay, and the definitions of dependents were also expanded. Okay, so please keep all these concepts in mind as well. Okay, the next is the Industrial Relations Code, which actually merged 3 central legislations. It includes the Industrial Disputes Act of 1947, Trade Unions Act of 1926, and the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act of 1946. Okay, so to talk about the Code on Industrial Relations, you have to keep in mind it has broadened the definition of the worker. Okay, worker now includes even a supervisor. If it's paid up to the age of 18,000, they will be treated as a worker. Okay, once again, fixed term employment has been recognized. Okay, another important point regarding the earlier regime was that if a particular establishment has at least 100 workers and it's trying to close down, then it has to take prior government approval, right? Either for retrenchment, either for layoff, of whatever it's doing, it needs to get a prior government approval, right? But now it says that the threshold is now increased from 100 to 300 workers. So only if a particular establishment has at least 300 workers and it is closing down, then only it needs to take prior government approval. Okay, please keep that in mind. Understand about the strike rules. It says that you have to give prior notice. 14-day notice has to be given. A prior notice of 14 days has to be given if a strike has to be conducted. And a mass casual leave, say everybody is bunking the kind of like how students bunk the class. If like 50% of workers of that establishment say we are not going to go to work, it will be treated as a strike. Okay, keep that in mind. Mass casual leave, okay, will be treated as a strike under the Industrial Relations Code. Okay, then it says that there will be a sole negotiating trade union which actually represents 51% of the employees. Negotiating councils are there which are just slightly smaller in nature than a union, but it will consist of 20%, at least 20% of membership. Okay, only if they hit these kind of quotas or members, they can actually form either a trade union or a negotiating council. Okay, then standing order threshold also has been raised from 100 to 300 employees. That is, if an establishment has at least 300 employees, only then these standing orders issued by the state, etc., will be applicable to that establishment. Okay, the next and the last code that we are going to be discussing is the Occupational Safety Occupational Safety Health and Working Conditions Code of 2020. Okay, so first important point, it has merged 13 central labor laws. Okay, remember 13. Okay, remember 13, and then you have to remember its objective. It actually ensured that there is a single registration. Okay, earlier you had a factory license, right, and it had a lot of complex licenses for different things, but now it says that a single universal license will be given, and the license threshold for factories have been increased, okay, with power. So if a particular factory is there and if it has power, it works with power, only if it employs greater than 20 workers, it needs to get a license. Earlier it was 10. Okay, so if a factory is there and if it is working with power, only if it employs 20 workers and above, it needs to get a license. If it is working without power, 40. Right, only if it employs more than 40 employees, it needs to get a license. Please understand that. Okay, the next important point is that the contractual labor norms will be applicable only for establishments that actually employ greater than 50 workers. Okay, please keep that also in mind. Women are also allowed to permitted to work at night. Earlier regime had not actually allowed it. Then free annual health checks are there. Remember that it is free. Okay, remember that it is free. Then you have the National Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Board, which is a tripartite organization advisory board with the government, with the employer representative and the employee representative. Then you have the safety committees, establishment with 500 or more workers. Safety committees with 500 or more workers will be formed. Working hour limits have been prescribed, 8 to 12 hours per day and a maximum of 48 hours per week. Okay, this is quite important because you know about statements made by various CEOs regarding working hours, right? So these are also important because UPSC can ask very broadly, right? What are the allowed working hour limits as per certain code? Anyhow, you need to have an idea regarding each of these codes, what laws it replaced, what are the new provisions. Okay, so remember Factories Act of 1948 has been subsumed, Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act of 1970 has been consolidated. So I hope these facts are clear. Okay, now let's look at sample question. With reference to the Code on Wages 2019, consider the following statements. It introduced a national floor wage below which no state can fix its minimum wage. That is true, but remember the point was, another important point was, this national floor wage, it's not just one wage for the entire India, there is scope for regional variation. Please keep that in mind. The definition of wages under the code include basic pay, dearness allowance and retaining allowance. It's true, if you just revise, wages, it includes these three components. Minimum wages under the code apply only to scheduled employments. Okay. If you are not entirely sure about this, please understand the general context in which these rules and laws were formulated. It is to expand the coverage. It is to protect the workers more. It is to provide them social security. It is to reduce the regulatory compliances. Okay, so please understand this context. So accordingly, we can eliminate it. But if you know the real fact, this scheduled employments minimum wages were actually provided by the Minimum Wages Act. Right, but the code on wages actually says that it is applicable to all the workers, right? So this is wrong. So we will get that two statements are correct and only two. We will reach the answer only two. So please study labor codes quite thoroughly because it's a very important landmark reform in the area of labor. Okay, so that's all in this video on current affairs. Thank you.